Zhang drives a rented van through the thick fog of the kindling mountains. In the back lies the cold, pale body of his girlfriend, Li. She died in a sudden, tragic accident in the city. Zhang promised her family he would bring her body back to their ancestral village. The road becomes a narrow, dirt path, hemmed in by black, gnarled trees. He reaches Stonegate Village, a place not found on any modern map. Ancient stone houses, huddled together like weathered tombstones. Li's father, a man with skin like parchment, greets Zhang without a word. Her mother is wailing, but her eyes are dry and sharp as glass. They insist on moving the body immediately to the ancestral hall. The air in the village smells of wet, earth and copper. Zhang is led to a room with no windows and a heavy wooden door. He finds a red envelope under his pillow containing a lock of black hair. Outside, he hears the rhythmic sound of a shovel hitting hard ground. He tries to open the door, but it is locked from the outside. Through a crack, he sees villagers carrying red lanterns in broad daylight. The lanterns are draped in black silk, a sign of a dark wedding. Zhang feels a sudden, sharp chill in the room. He sees Li standing in the corner, her dress torn and muddy. She isn't breathing. Her jaw hangs at an impossible angle. She points toward the floorboards before vanishing into static. Zhang pries up a loose board and finds a collection of human teeth. Each tooth is wrapped in a small piece of red paper with a name on it. He hears a heavy thud against the door. Li's father enters, holding a bowl of thick, dark liquid. "Drink," the old man commands. "It is for the protection of the soul." Zhang refuses, sensing a bitter, chemical smell. The old man smiles, revealing gums filled with silver wire. Villagers enter and pin Zhang to the floor. They force the liquid down his throat. It tastes of salt and bile. Zhang's vision begins to blur and warp. He is dragged to the ancestral hall, his limbs feeling like lead. The hall is decorated in inverse red, a color so bright it looks like fresh blood. 2 coffins sit in the center, linked by a thick, braided red rope. One coffin contains Li, dressed in an ornate, rotting bridal gown. The other coffin is empty, waiting. The blind priest begins chanting in a language that sounds like bone grinding on stone. He realizes the villagers aren't mourning. They are celebrating. They believe Li's soul is restless and needs a husband of flesh. Zhang tries to scream, but his tongue feels swollen and numb. They dress him in a matching red robe made of heavy, coarse wool. The wool is itchy, smelling of old sweat and formaldehyde. He is forced to sit next to Li's open coffin. Her skin looks waxy and yellow under the flickering candles. A villager begins to sew Li's hand to Zhang's sleeve. The needle is long and rusty. He feels every prick. Despite the drug, the bond is physical. The priest whispers. The soul follows the blood. Zhang looks at the villagers. Their faces are distorted by the shadows. Some have their eyes sewn shut. Others have no ears. He realizes they have all sacrificed parts of themselves to the village god. The priest places a heavy jade seal on Zhang's forehead. The seal is freezing, burning his skin with cold. Zhang's heart slows down to a near stop. He sees a spectral red thread connecting his chest to Li's. The thread pulses with every weak beat of his heart. Li's dead eyes suddenly snap open, staring at the ceiling. A low, wet rattle comes from her throat. The villagers bow their heads in terror and joy. The bride accepts. They chant in unison. Zhang is forced into the empty coffin. The wood is cold and smells of damp cedar. Li is lifted and placed on top of him. Her dead weight crushes the air out of his lungs. The red rope is wrapped around both of them, binding them together. He can feel the coldness of her skin seeping into his robe. The lid of the coffin is slammed shut. Darkness becomes absolute and heavy. He hears the first nail being driven into the wood. Clang. The second nail. Clang. He begins to claw at the lid, but his fingers break against the wood. Li's cold hand moves, interlacing her fingers with his. Her grip is like iron, crushing his knuckles. He hears the muffled sound of the villagers singing a wedding dirge. The coffin is lifted and carried out of the hole. He feels the swaying motion of being carried to the graveyard. The air inside is becoming thin and hot. He hears the sound of rain starting to pour outside. The coffin is lowered into a deep, watery pit. Thud. The impact jars his entire body. Dirt begins to rain down on the lid. Thump. 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 He realizes they are being buried alive. Lee's face is inches from his. She begins to leak black fluid from her eyes. The fluid smelled like ancient, stagnant water. She whispers his name, but the voice comes from inside his own head. Zhang, stay with me forever. He feels the pressure of the earth growing above them. The coffin wood begins to creak and groan. He prays for death, but the drug keeps him conscious. He sees the red thread between them glowing brighter in the dark. It is draining his warmth, feeding it to her. Her skin begins to feel softer, more human. His own skin is turning gray and brittle. He is becoming the corpse. She is becoming the living. The last bit of oxygen fades away. Zhang's heart gives one final, agonizing thud. Zhang opens his eyes in the pitch blackness of the grave. He is not breathing, yet his mind is screaming. The weight of Li on top of him is suffocating but motionless. He feels a strange sensation in his chest, like roots growing. The red thread is burrowed into his skin, stitching his nerves to hers. He can feel her dreams, dark, watery visions of the village's past. He sees Li's ancestors, hundreds of them, standing in a circle under the earth. They are all ghost couples, feeding on the vitality of the village. Zhang tries to move his arm. Li's arm moves in perfect sync. He realizes they share a single nervous system now. A sudden vibration shakes the coffin. Someone is digging them up. The lid is pried open with a screeching sound of wood splitting. Li's father stands above the pit, holding a shovel. He doesn't look surprised that Zhang is alive. The first stage is complete, the old man mutters. Zhang and Li are pulled out of the hole like a single, multi-limbed creature. Their bodies are physically fused at the hip and shouldered by the red rope. The rope has turned into a vein-like structure, pulsing with black blood. They are taken to a hidden cellar beneath the village. The walls are lined with jars containing preserved human organs. Zhang sees his own liver in one of the jars, still twitching. The priest explains that the ghost marriage requires a living anchor. As long as Zhang stays alive, Li's soul can walk the physical world, but she will eat his life, bit by bit. Li stands up, her movements jerky and puppet-like. Zhang is forced to stand with her, his legs dragging behind. She begins to eat a bowl of raw meat, provided by her mother. Zhang feels the taste of blood in his mouth and the weight of the food in his stomach. He is a ghost in a living body. She is a body with a ghost soul. He tries to speak, but only Li's voice comes out of his mouth. Help, ... me, ... He thinks, but a mouth says thank you, father. He sees a mirror and recoils in horror. His face is melting, his features merging with Li's feminine structure. He is losing his gender, his identity, his very soul. At night, they are chained to a stone pillar in the cellar. Li's spirit leaves the body to wander the village. While she is gone, Zhang feels a cold emptiness in his chest. He sees the ghosts of other anchors trapped in the walls. They are nothing but husks of skin and bone, screaming silently. One of them whispers to him, "Break the thread. Kill the source." Zhang realizes the source is the ancestral heart kept in the hall. He begins to secretly bite at the red rope connecting them. The rope tastes like rotted meat and electricity. Every bite sends a jolt of pain through Li, wherever she is. She returns to the cellar, her eyes glowing with a feral hunger. She scratches Zhang's face, her nails now long and black. "Do not struggle, husband," she whispers with a dual voice. The drug is wearing off, and the full physical pain hits him. He feels the red thread pulling at his intestines. The village is preparing for the final feast. They need to sacrifice Zhang's remaining blood to the earth. Zhang finds a shard of broken glass on the cellar floor. He hides it in the fold of his rotting robe. Li's mother comes to wash them with vinegar and salt. The salt burns Zhang's open wounds, but he stays silent. He watches the mother's shadow. It has 8 arms. The villagers are not entirely human. They are vessels for ancient demons. He sees a chance when the guard falls asleep. He uses the glass shard to saw at the leather straps on his ankles. Blood black and thick drips onto the floor. Lee is dormant, her soul feeding on the village's fear. He manages to free one leg. He drags Lee's dead weight across the damp floor. Every inch is an agony of tearing muscle. He reaches the stairs, the wood groaning under the double weight. He reaches the kitchen, smelling the stench of the feast being prepared. Large pots are boiling with unidentifiable bones. He sees a map on the wall made of human skin. It shows the village is built on a giant, subterranean tomb. The ghost marriages are pins holding a great evil in place. If he breaks the bond, he might destroy the whole village. He finds a butcher's knife on the counter. He considers killing himself, but knows his soul would just be trapped. Lee's eyes open. She realizes he is escaping. She lets out a high-pitched shriek that shatters the glass in the room. The villagers wake up, their footsteps heavy on the floor above. Lee's father bursts into the kitchen, a meat hook in his hand. Zhang swings the butcher's knife, cutting the old man's arm. Instead of blood, black moths fly out of the wound. The old man laughs, a sound like dry leaves. Zhang drags Lee toward the back door, into the rainy night. The mud is deep and cold, clutching at his feet. He sees the graveyard in the distance, glowing with a sickly green light. He realizes he needs to get back to the ancestral hall. The red thread pulls him backward, Lee's body acting as an anchor. She is fighting him now, her limbs thrashing. She bites his neck, her teeth sinking deep into his jugular. He doesn't bleed, he only leaks cold mist. He realizes he is already dead in every way that matters. But his hatred gives him strength. He reaches the heavy doors of the ancestral hall. Inside, the candles are burning blue. The ancestral heart sits on a silver platter, beating slowly. Zhang raises the knife, but his arm freezes in midair. Zhang's arm is held by an invisible force, a collective will of the ancestors. Lee's spirit fully manifests beside him, her face now a mask of pure malice. "You cannot destroy what created you," she sneers. The priest enters, his blind eyes weeping black tar. He explains that the heart is the life force of every ghost couple ever made. To destroy, each Zhang must destroy every soul linked to it, including his own. Zhang looks at the heart. It is covered in thousands of red threads. One of those threads leads directly into his own chest. He realizes the village has been doing this for 1,000 years. They lure outsiders to keep the bloodline fresh. Lee was never his girlfriend. She was bait, a lure spirit sent to the city. This revelation breaks Zhang's heart more than the physical pain. His love was a lie manufactured by a demonic cult. Lee laughs, the sound echoing from the walls. "You were so easy to catch, Zhang. So full of pity." Zhang feels a cold rage replace his sorrow. He realizes the drug is completely gone. He is fueled by pure spite. He uses his free hand to grab the red thread in his chest. He begins to pull it out, like a long, bloody worm. The pain is so intense he sees white light, but he doesn't stop. The priest screams as the hall begins to crack. Lee's features begin to distort and melt away. As Zhang pulls the thread, he's pulling his own life force out. He wraps the thread around the butcher's knife. He stabs the knife not into the heart, but into his own shadow on the floor. The shadow bleeds real blood. A shockwave of spiritual energy throws the villagers back. The ancestral heart begins to turn black and shrivel. Thousands of ghosts begin to rise from the floorboards. They are the previous husbands of flesh, seeking revenge. They swarmed the priest and the villagers, tearing them apart. The whole becomes a charnel house of spectral violence. Lee tries to flee, but the ghosts of her previous husbands grab her. She is pulled down into the dark abyss, opening in the floor. Zhang is left standing in the center of the chaos. His body is falling apart. His skin is sloughing off in wet clumps. He sees the great evil beneath the village, a giant, multi-headed serpent of smoke. It has been feeding on the ghost marriages for eons. Without the heart, the serpent is waking up. The entire Stonegate village begins to sink into the earth. Zhang finds the strength to walk toward the exit. He sees Lee's father being eaten by his own black moths. The sky above is a vortex of red clouds and lightning. Zhang reaches the van at the edge of the village. He looks in the mirror one last time. He has no face left, only a swirling mist of red threads. He drives away as the ground swallows the village behind him, but he doesn't go far. The red thread on his wrist is still there, glowing. He realizes the bond cannot be broken by fire or steel. It is a debt of blood. He reaches a highway, but every car he passes is empty. The world is becoming a graveyard to his eyes. He hears Lee's voice on the radio, singing their favorite song. He looks in the passenger seat. She is there, beautiful and perfect again. "You can't leave me, Zhang. We are married." He screams, but only the sound of a shovel hitting dirt comes out. He realizes he never escaped the coffin. Everything since part 1. Scene 80 was a hallucination of a dying brain. He is still in the dark, under the earth. The air is almost gone. Lee's cold body is still pressing down on him, but now he can feel her heart beating against his back. Thump. Thump. She is alive. He is the ghost. She used the ritual to steal his life entirely. He hears her father's voice from above. She is ready. "Bring her up." The coffin lid opens again. Lee stands up, vibrant and glowing with health. She looks down at Zhang's shriveled, mummified remains. She smiles and blows him a kiss. "Thank you for the life, Zhang. I'll use it well." They throw a fresh layer of lime over him. The coffin lid is closed forever. Zhang is left in the ultimate silence. But he isn't alone. The other husbands are there in the dirt with him. They are a colony of forgotten souls, a carpet of suffering. They begin to whisper to him, 1,000 voices in the dark. They teach him the song of the worm. He realizes the village wasn't the source of the evil. The earth itself is hungry for souls. He begins to change again, his bones turning into wood, his teeth turn into stones. He becomes part of the mountain. Every time a new person drives through the fog, Zhang feels them. He helps pull the foe closer to their cause. He helps guide them toward the stone gate. He is now the lure. He sees a young woman driving a car, crying over a dead lover. He whispers into her ear through the wind, "Bring him home, ... We can fix him." She turns the steering wheel toward the dirt path. Zhang smiles in the dark. The wedding season has begun.